Jason loved exploring antique shops, searching for hidden treasures. One rainy Saturday, he stumbled upon a shop tucked away on a quiet street. It was crammed with dusty furniture and strange trinkets. The musty air smelled old, like forgotten memories. At the back, hidden behind a velvet curtain, stood an ornate mirror. Its silver frame was intricately carved with twisting figures that seemed to writhe and dance. Jason was mesmerized. He had to have it. "Be careful with that one," the shopkeeper rasped, his voice like dry leaves. "It's got a bit of a history, that one does." His cloudy eyes held a warning that sent shivers down Jason's spine, but Jason, enticed by the mystery, dismissed the warning as mere salesmanship. Back home, Jason hung the mirror in his bedroom. As he stepped back to admire it, he felt a cold shiver, as if a draught of icy air had swept across the room. He shook off the feeling and peered into the glass. His reflection stared back, but something was off. It wasn't an exact copy. His reflection was hazy, blurred around the edges. For a moment he thought it was just the dim lighting, but as he continued to stare, he noticed something unsettling. The reflection in the mirror seemed to hesitate, lagging slightly behind his movements. He raised his right hand, and his reflection, after a brief delay, raised its left. A wave of unease washed over Jason. This was no ordinary mirror. As days turned into nights, the mirror's strange behavior intensified. The delay in the reflection grew longer, and the image became increasingly distorted. His reflection began to take on a life of its own. Jason would catch glimpses of movement in the mirror's depths. A fleeting shadow, a flicker of something unnatural lurking behind his own image. Fear, cold and sharp, began to gnaw at his courage. One night he woke to a chilling sound, a soft, rasping whisper seemingly emanating from the mirror. He sat up in bed, heart pounding, and stared at his reflection. The figure in the mirror was no longer a blurry imitation. It was sharp, defined, and it was watching him with an intensity that sent shivers down his spine. Paralyzed with fear, Jason watched as his reflection began to move independently. It smiled, a cruel, mocking grin that sent chills down his spine. Then slowly it started to reach out from the mirror, its hand breaking the surface of the glass as if it were water. "No! Stay back!" Jason screamed, scrambling back on the bed, but his voice seemed trapped in a nightmare, unable to reach his ears. The hand, as cold as death, clamped over his mouth, stifling his cries. He thrashed and struggled, but to no avail. The reflection's icy grip tightened, its eyes burning into his with a malevolent joy. Jason felt a pulling sensation, a force dragging him towards the mirror's surface, towards the waiting figure within. His own reflection smiled, and then everything went black.